Hello and welcome to Music Matters, the podcast. I'm Andy Matson, Monkeyboy, and I've also got my partner here,
Ziggy.
Hey.
Hey.
We've been doing this for a while now, haven't we?
Well, we've been talking about this for about what felt like 5 years, but I think it's been a year just talking about it. I don't think we should sound important like we've been thinking about it every day over that year.
Right.
It's just, some of it has been, we have paying jobs and lives, and we've just gotten busy, but we've gotten real serious about it, I think, over the last 6 months. And, we've known each other for, 26, 27 years now. And
been close to it, yeah.
Yeah, been close to it. And so I'm excited to be doing this with you.
And Sally is with us as well. You might hear a dog in the background here.
Yeah. My question would be, what is a dog doing in a monkey cage? But
I don't know.
That usually doesn't go very well.
It usually doesn't, but she likes it here, so we'll let her stay.
The podcast dog, I have no problem.
The podcast dog. She's a black lab.
Mm-hmm.
And
I'll need to bring
just a pretty girl.
I'll bring the podcast cat with me next week.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right. So I guess a little bit about each of us. Ziggy, first, let's talk about your beginnings into music and what brought you to radio, and then where you're at now.
Qualifications to
sure,
do a podcast?
Let's do that.
Is that what this is?
I guess.
The qualification?
Sure.
Oh, okay. Well, I grew up in a home. My dad was a steel guitar player.
Nice.
I did not ever see my dad play the steel guitar, though, in all of my life. He was a country musician before I was born. So therefore I was raised on traditional country music, which, as a little boy, I didn't know any different. I'm not saying anything bad. I'm just saying that by the time, I went, I think I went to my first concert when I was 12, and, I think when I was in junior high, I do remember this. This is a true story. My sister had a boyfriend at the time that had a Mustang. It was a red Mustang. And I just loved to get in this car. And anytime he would leave his keys around, I'd go ahead and I'd get in the car. And every time I would get in trouble by him, my sister, or my parents, because I should not be in the car. But one time I got in the car and I turned the stereo up loud. And I heard this song by Autograph called "Turn Up the Radio." And And I had never heard music like that. So anyway, then I abandoned whatever Dad had raised me on. I was like, oh, what is this? And so anyway, I also had my brother, who you've heard me talk about, my brother Tim, and his huge influence on my life. Tim was about 3 years older than me, and Tim, just like me and my sister, was raised on traditional country music. He soaked it up. And then he soaked up the 80s hard rock. He soaked up 70s music, just everything about it, which is really kind of what this podcast is born out of my brother Tim.
Yeah.
And just all aspects of music. He could tell you the record label an artist was on, who had produced the record, who had been the engineer on the record, who wrote the songs on the record.
Wow. So he was a liner notes reader.
He was a liner notes reader, absolutely, because we're talking LPs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We're talking LPs. It's when you physically held that in your hand, you looked at the cover, you knew who the artist was that drew the cover. That's what he was like. But every kind of music that he went into, and Tim went into music with the thought of studying it, with spending time with it, with having an open mind and giving it a chance. And just everything about music. He opened his mouth and he knew stuff. Just like you and I, this is absolutely worthless information. It gets us. Gets us nowhere in life.
No.
It won't make us millionaires. If we knew as much about other things in our life. I might be operating on your brain one day.
Yeah, right.
But we're not going to do that because
nobody would
you're
want
to be screwed up for life
dead.
right now.
Yeah.
But so I kind of took that on. We'd go visit my brother at Grandma's 2 hours away, and I would just spend the weekend up in Tim's room, listening to whatever he was listening to.
Nice.
And it was everything. My brother had a record collection of 17,000 records.
Wow.
All put nicely taken care of in the sleeves in a humidity-controlled room.
Wow.
At Grandma's house. And so that is really where I learned the vast majority of my music. We have an older brother that had really inspired both of us to kind of get into R&B. R&B is really where I learned from him.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get to the 90s. And my parents decided that enough was enough. It was time for Sean to move on to his life. So I got a set of luggage that Christmas, and I wasn't too happy about it.
Yeah.
Even though I was, now about 20, I was like, where's the rest of the presents? And Dad said, well, these are for you. You're going to be moving out. You're going to be gone in 6 months. And I said, oh, really? Where am I going? He says, well, good news. You're leaving before the 6 months. We're actually taking you to radio school in 2 weeks. And I went to radio school in Billings, Montana. My mother said, we can't think of any two things you love more than drumming and music, so this is an opportunity for you to use what you know and do what you love. And so I got into radio in 1993, and I did that off and on, maybe more off than on, for over about 19 years. Worked in country radio, worked in pop radio, rock radio. I love music.
Yep.
Music matters a lot to me. Music matters a lot to you.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about that throughout this podcast.
For sure.
And we're going to talk about the matters of music, because it all matters. Music is much more than putting on your streaming site or clicking on the radio.
For sure.
And you hear a song. There's so much to that song. So many people put so much effort into that piece of music.
Yeah, it's not
crappy
like
or otherwise, somebody put effort into it.
Right.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about, we're just going to talk about all that stuff. I do think a good starting point in talking about music is there is music and there is not music. For instance, there is, this is going to date both of us, but there's Yoko Ono. Okay? There's Yoko Ono. That is not music.
No.
Anything else we talk about will be.
Yes.
So.
Yes.
Anyway,
there will be no Yoko here.
There will be no Yoko here. Which, by the way, anytime you're listening to this episode, we invite you to look up what we're talking about on your search engine.
Yeah, go ahead.
So the only time we're not going to recommend that is right now when we're talking about Yoko Ono. But we would like you to look up everything else that we talk about and educate yourself.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Right? So what is your, I do know that you were not raised in the same house I was.
No.
No. You grew up with a minister.
I did. My dad's a Methodist minister. Still preaches here and there on occasion. And my mom was a middle school teacher. Mm-hmm. So I got away with nothing until I was out of the house. Mm-hmm. But one of the things I actually was able to kind of get away with was my choice in music. And I remember very, very clearly being introduced to Kiss. Very young, about 4 or 5, I'd say. and it was Kiss Meets the Phantom. There's the movie. That was my introduction to Kiss, and it just went from there. Like, I became obsessed with Rock and Roll All Night, and then I was like, oh, you mean to tell me there's more music like this? Sign me up. And I just went looking and finding every kind of rock music I could find, and I loved it. I loved every little bit of it. I was pretty much fixated on rock. I did like the pop. There's a lot of pop stuff I really enjoyed. Huey Lewis and the News, Michael Jackson. Of course, you couldn't live through the '80s and not have an appreciation for Michael Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
I liked very little country. I was not into the country at all. I don't know. I think it's the twang, as I call it, the tone in the voice. If you listen to country, I think you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I was always just a rock person in general. It pretty much from 4 years old to today. It hasn't changed. I still love the rock. I, in fact, own my own radio station, and it's a rock format. It's monkeyboyradio.com. You can check it out. We play literally everything from Hendrix to today. So go check those out.
Yeah.
As far as like, getting into radio, I was selling vacuum cleaners at the time, and I was at a fair.
You sold vacuum cleaners?
I did.
I don't know this about you.
You didn't know this?
You've been holding out on you sold vacuums.
I sold vacuum cleaners. I didn't do it very well. I think I sold one, but they were $1,200 vacuum cleaners. So, and they were sending me to places like, trailer parks.
Oh.
So, yeah, I could see a lot of people in trailer parks wanting to buy a $1,200 vacuum cleaner.
Yeah, most of them didn't buy the $15 one.
Right, exactly. So, I mean, they were amazed by its use, but no, they didn't buy it. So, but I was at the fairground doing a demonstration, and I decided to take a little break. And I walked around the fair, and there was a radio station there, and a person that we are both familiar with, Brian Powers, was on the radio. And he said, first person to hear me gets a free t-shirt. So I popped up to him and I said, I just heard you. I'll take that free t-shirt. And as he was giving me the t-shirt, I asked him, what does it take to be in radio? How did you get your job? And he's like, well, you got to go to a university like Brown or, somewhere in Minneapolis. And, or you meet a guy like me and give you a job right now. And I quit selling vacuum cleaners that day and started doing radio. First, it was just the board ops. I didn't have any type of show. And as soon as I kind of got into that, they got me into production, and then they got me into having my own overnight show. And it just kept going from there. And then I ended up following Brian. He came out to Sioux City for a job at KG95. And shortly thereafter, the overnight position opened up, and he called me and asked me if I was interested. And I said, yeah. So I sent my stuff, and lo and behold, I was there, and I was there for almost 20 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I did do some work in Yankton for a little while on a classic rock station, Classic Hits 106.3. But for the most part, I was sticking to pop and rock for me. I did do some classic on KWSL. I played some classic hits.
Yeah.
So those are my, major influences in music. But I used to do, I don't know if you know this, I used to do dances as well.
Oh, dances,
and this was before I got into radio.
Oh.
I DJ'd for a company called Music in Motion in La Crosse, Wisconsin. And they taught me how to entertain and work a crowd. And then I think from that education, it just mixed really well with the radio stuff. And that's how I became Monkeyboy.
Yeah. Well, you brought up, you mentioned Brown.
Yeah.
So that was one school that, when my parents were like, what do we do with this kid? they had looked at Brown, but it was more expensive.
Yeah, it was expensive.
So I ended up going to Maytech, but I think what a blessing that they did that. I didn't like it at the moment. I didn't understand. And, sadly, they're both gone now.
Right.
Coming up on 6 years for Mom and 5 for Dad. In that time, I've been able to reflect and just appreciate, that's one of the top 5 things that I appreciate. Because what would have been my outlet? Well, I was a drummer, but even at that age, I had no interest in packing myself in a van and driving around with a bunch of sweaty guys to go play a 2-hour show.
Not even for the groupies.
$50, but no. But my friends were musicians and had a band, and I helped them. I helped them with the band and stuff. But yeah, I don't know what my outlet would have been. Might have been stir crazy for all those years, going, what am I going to do? Because I just absolutely still love music.
Oh yeah, me too.
And I'm grateful for that outlet to. Radio has allowed us to show our personalities.
Very much.
Very much. Maybe.
Sometimes maybe to a detriment.
To our detriment. Excuse me. You may remember talking about personalities going too far. I'm gonna go ahead and tell this story.
Okay, go for it.
I think I've told it privately for years, but you'll remember this. Let me go back just a little bit. That I'm living in Missoula, Montana, my birth town, and things aren't going well financially, and I've got a couple of kids. I got a couple of kids then that I got to worry about support. So I start sending out audition tapes, which is what you did back in the day.
Yeah.
And I sent one out to where we're doing this podcast from, Sioux City, Iowa. And I was given an interview. And we were so financially strapped, I was not able to come out here, either flying or driving. But it so happened that I think within 6 months to a year, we had decided to move to Ames, Iowa. And I worked radio up in Ames, Iowa at Hot 105. And while I was working there, I sent out my audition tapes again out to Iowa. And one was received by, what was it at the time? I think it was Radio Works.
Yep, Radio Works.
Radio Works.
Yep.
One was received by Radio Works. And I got a call from Johnny Walker, I believe it was. I got a call from Johnny Walker. We'd like you to come to town for an interview. And I did, and it was for a job on KSFT.
Oh, wow.
Yes, KSFT, right. Which is here in Sioux City, is Kiss FM now. And anyway, so I started working there, and of course part of radio is you record commercials.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, long way to the point of the story. But anyway, I was recording an ad for a client one weekend, and I was frustrated with it because I just wasn't able to get it right. And I finally got it right, and I said, "Up your butt with a donut." Do you remember this? Do you remember this?
Slightly.
Okay, well, anyway, I thought I edited the commercial when I recorded it in, but I got called into the office. I did this on a Saturday. I got called into the office on a Monday, and I sat across from Ted Mann. Our very serious, awesome boss at the time. And they had gotten a call on Sunday when no one was working. Someone in advertising got a call from a client or a listener that heard somebody say, "Up your butt with a donut." the commercial. It aired 3 times on Sunday. So that was an example of too much personality. I didn't get fired, by the way. I continued in radio, but
Oh, Sally liked that.
Sally liked that story. Thank you, Sally, very much. So, anyway, on this podcast, we're going to talk about the matters of music.
Yeah.
So, we do have, I'm very excited, we do have a future episode where we're going to talk about another one of my favorite things, and I think yours too, concerts.
Oh, God, yes. That's
So
my
we're gonna
happy
talk
place.
Yes. So we're going to talk about everything concerts. Should we say who it is, or do we want to wait? I mean, I don't,
It doesn't matter to me.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I don't want to pump up his ego too much.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Yeah. Now, we're going to have our friend Jason Luck come in.
Yeah.
And I consider myself, and I consider you, and I consider him, and a few of our other people we know to be professional concert goers.
Yes.
I think that there's amateur concert goers.
Oh, for sure.
And there's professional concert goers.
Yes.
So, I just recently attended my 379th concert.
Is that all?
Yeah, oh, is that all? Yeah.
No, you've had to gone to more than 379 concerts. Dude, we've been to 379
Okay,
concerts.
is it, maybe it's 479. Anyway, we don't have time on the podcast for me to go down the list. Anyway, you've gone to a lot of shows. I've gone to a lot of shows. Our friend Jason goes to a lot of shows. But Jason knows the ins and outs of fan clubs.
And backstage stuff.
And backstage stuff. How to get stuff signed. He helps his wife and her family run a great organization.
Yes.
The LME Foundation. And they raise money for cochlear implants. And a lot of that money has been raised yearly through this event that he puts on, Logapalooza, where he sells, or they auction off,
Yep.
musical items that are autographed.
Right.
Okay, well, Jason, he puts in a lot of effort to do this.
Yeah.
And he can explain to everyone how you do this, how you can send off a shirt and have it signed by an artist through their fan club.
Yep.
Just how to work through ticket outlets, how to get the best price.
All things we really wouldn't know because we got ours free when we worked at radio.
That's right. We don't know the effort it takes because we got free concert tickets.
That was a pretty nice little.
It was a very nice perk. It was a very nice perk. But we're going to talk about behavior, man. Behavior at concerts.
Yeah.
Before the show, during the show, after the show, when you're backstage, just everything having to do with concerts. We're going to talk about all genres of music.
Yep. Not just rock. Which
not just rock.
I fully and will admit this. I am pretty much knowledgeable in 2 places: pop and rock. The rest, you're talking to the wind right there.
Yeah.
On me.
So this podcast is secondly about educating Andy. Really. Which is why I'm here.
He's gonna attempt to try to make me.
Now, this is a true story, and don't you lie. We get together often and go on drives.
Yep.
Yeah. And on a recent drive, I was playing K-pop.
Yep.
Okay, that's a genre that is very much exploding.
Yeah.
And most people don't know K-pop artists. They think they all speak in their native languages, which they don't. But anyway, so I was playing some of that for you. I don't know who this is. And then I think on another trip we were listening to Chappell Roan.
Yep. We were.
And you were like, I have no idea who that is.
You're correct. I
But-
have none.
But you did what we hope everyone will do in listening to this podcast.
I looked it up.
You
Checked
look
it
it up through your favorite social engine, I'm
a Spotify guy.
okay,
honestly,
Spotify.
yeah.
But you get on there. Your search engine was the word I was looking for, and you looked her up.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, she's got some great stuff.
see,
Yeah.
yeah, that's what the podcast is about. Is just about maybe opening your horizons,
Yeah, and checking new stuff out.
checking new stuff out. We're going to talk about musicians.
Yep. We'll do some rock news here and there, or some music news, I guess we'd call it.
You know, we'll do some music news. We'll talk about new music that's out, not just rock.
Right.
You know,
Correct.
just new music that's out. We'll talk about, drama in music, like at the Super Bowl with Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah, that was
drama.
a big blow up.
You had Beyonce winning a Grammy for country album. We're going to talk about things like that. Going to share our thoughts and our opinions. You may not necessarily agree with our opinion, but this show is about open-mindedness, and everything we talk about, we hope you look up and I just think that the topics are just endless.
Oh yeah, there's so many.
But there's so much to talk about, and I got nothing better going on.
I don't either.
I really don't. I mean, I can hang with you once a week, and
Sure.
and we'll just talk about music. But I mean, there might be we're one of the things that we were just talking about before you hit record was the little bit of money that artists get from streaming sites.
Yeah.
That's really important to talk about. We're going to talk about the Beatles. We're going to stay current because
Yeah.
we're both really old.
We are. We are.
But
We've got we've lived a lot of life.
yeah, but we're gonna dip back and talk about music that matters throughout the years, because there's a lot of it.
There's a lot of stuff I didn't know about that I've gone back and checked out. For example, we talked about the Osmonds.
Oh,
Had
the Osmonds.
no idea that they were. I thought the Osmonds were like a white Jackson 5 or the Partridge Family,
And
something
that's how old you are.
like that. Yeah,
You're
that's
talking
how-
about the Osmonds.
Yeah.
yeah, but
they had some really amazing guitar work and rockish type stuff that they released.
the Osmonds were part of culture at the time.
Yeah.
They were. The Jackson 5 was about culture.
Yeah.
I mean, so much music goes into culture, and they're, I mean, when you're talking about the Beatles, I mean,
Oh yeah.
It kind of all starts there, I think.
Really does.
Yeah, for most
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
Just the Led Zeppelin, their impact culturally, musically. I mean the list goes on and on. I think one of the touchy subjects that we might talk about in a very future episode is the sexual abuse that is going on in music.
Yeah.
The sexual harassment.
Yep.
Bieber,
Bieber is one of those victims, I believe.
but this abuse goes to the tops of record labels, down to musicians on the road, tour managers and stuff.
Yep.
And I just think it's important to talk about that, and really how you interact with musicians, and what's appropriate for the time.
Right.
Abuse has no place in any part of society. and music is one of them. We have an increase in females in the music industry,
Mm-hmm.
and that's where the majority of it is. So we're going to talk about serious things too.
Yeah.
Gonna
But we'll
talk-
also talk about a lot of fun stuff.
Oh, we're going to talk about a lot of fun stuff. You know, we'll
Be very opinionated about certain albums.
I mean, be very opinionated. But the reality is, just so you know, when you talk about things, I'm going to go home and look them up.
Yeah, same. Yeah, very much so.
So that I know. Now, I don't know, again, that all this vast music knowledge that they could obtain is going to get them any farther in life, because
I can't say no. Yeah.
Again, you're still going to have to work your regular job.
Yep.
But
I don't see this podcast making us millions. No.
No,
But it'll be fun.
It'll be fun. You know, our friend Jason has, he also has a podcast.
Yeah, wrestling podcast.
It's a wrestling podcast. And so I don't know that we're going to get into that when he comes.
Oh,
the
we could
first
talk
time.
about music that is
Music-
involved in wrestling. And
Music
like our
that is
best
involved
theme
in
songs.
wrestling,
Oh,
theme songs.
I could go on.
And how music has had an impact there.
Oh, very much so.
Music and advertising, we're going to talk about that.
Yep.
Because you and I will remember that way back when, I'm not going to pick a decade, but way back when you saw a Dove soap commercial, it was someone playing along to a piano.
Oh, yeah.
But now you have the most recent hit by the biggest pop star.
Oh, yeah.
Is now the theme of that commercial, and what the reasoning is behind that. So
Nice.
the impact of music in sports, which is huge.
Oh, big time.
Mm-hmm.
Like anything from, the stuff you see on the TV to being at the auditorium, they've got music playing the whole game all the time.
Yep.
So.
Yep. And I one of the things in talking about Jason coming in, talking about concerts, is what people don't know is that the pre-show music is picked by the band.
Yeah.
And so as it gets closer to showtime, people probably don't notice that, but we do. The music gets louder and louder.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And that's how they keep track backstage of how soon they need to come to the stage.
Yep. A lot of them. Some of them get that, hey, 15 minutes!
Some of them do get that, 15 minutes. But there is a reasoning behind the music.
The old school way, though.
Old school way. But there is a reason that music is played and why certain songs are played, and the science behind that.
Yeah.
How about... I went to one rock show last year where I heard, I think it was Hank Williams Jr. or maybe it was Charlie Daniels, the Devil Went Down to Georgia, played before that. It was a metal show. And how you're seeing that at shows where
starting to mix genres.
Just mix genres. And obviously we're going to talk about all that too.
Yeah.
We will never ever do an episode on genres.
Well, we'll talk about all different types of genres, but
but we're not going to do a whole episode because if we talk about the genre umbrella under my favorite kind of music, which is metalcore.
There's so many different...
There's so many,
yeah.
and genres really don't matter. But we will talk about how genres are crossing now.
Yeah. We may go from, like, if we're talking genres, rock, country, R&B, because those are, like, big names, that kind of the umbrellas that has a whole bunch
because
of
we have artists now that are crossing genres.
A lot of them.
You have the legendary Post Malone, which he really can't do anything wrong, and I'm a fan.
Yeah, I seen him live.
But yeah, he's cross genres. You have Jelly Roll, Teddy Swims.
Hell, Post just sang for Nirvana.
Just saying, he's doing for Record Store Day. Him and the members of Nirvana are doing a little Nirvana tribute thing.
So
for
do you
Record
think?
Store Day.
And just kind of
Yes,
going off.
I do think.
Do you think they're going to do a tour?
Yeah, I think they're going to tour next year, and I think Post Malone will be the front man.
That would I'd be down for that.
See, so we can talk about rumors.
Right.
Wouldn't it be fun? We can talk about
Yeah,
rumors.
I know, right?
Get
all excited
give
and then
our
get let down
predictions.
when it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Son of a...
Yeah. Let's see. We can talk about the death of rock.
Yeah.
Yeah. We can talk about where did all the bands go. So I mean, I hope it'll be fun and entertaining every week.
The good thing about the death of rock, it really didn't die. It just metamorphosized a little bit.
Metamorphosized, yeah.
I think.
Metamorphosized. I think that's an okay word.
Yeah.
But you know, another thing I think is important. I know for me, music is therapy.
Me too. Yeah.
So we can talk about the therapeutic aspect of music.
It calms me down a
I
lot of
mean-
times. Well, and sometimes it'll, pep me up too, depending on which mood I want to be in.
Well, for instance, I don't just listen to metalcore. You know, I really do listen to everything.
You do.
Yeah.
I can vouch for
Which
that.
we'll talk about. That
You
in a second.
you listen to more genres than I do. Like easily.
I'm into a
You're into a lot more than I am.
I'm into a little bit of everything, but I'm not scared to get in my car at 7:45 in the morning and just start with it.
Yeah.
Just start with it, because I'm not happy about going to work. So it's good. It's a good way to,
Get me in the mood.
Get out the anger.
Yep.
I'm lucky I get to have an earbud in at work, so it's not beyond me to listen to death metal like Lorna Shore.
Yep.
And 3 minutes later, Lainey Wilson comes on right after that. I'm not joking.
I know you're not.
I'm not joking. I put on a playlist the other day that it was just a collection of I don't know what, but it was all songs that I listened to after Lainey Wilson, Kansas played, and I'm not ashamed to say I heard Mbop by Hanson.
That song grows on me more as the years go by.
Yeah, but I don't really care about the flow. I listen to a little bit of everything, and there's it's nice to get in your car by yourself. I took a trip up to Ames to see the older kids here a few weeks ago, and I had it cranked the whole way, and I was listening to everything.
Yep.
Through Spotify, and sometimes I like to turn on the radio. Now when I'm listening to my earbud, it's I'm glad that I can search out the music that I want to listen to.
Yeah.
Now I talked about earlier about when I listen to certain stuff it makes me feel old, so I don't very often bring up old music on Spotify. It's the current stuff, maybe stuff within the last 10 years. I do like to sometimes it's like, okay, I'll turn on the radio, and my favorite band from the 70s, I'm not ashamed to say this, everyone knows it, my favorite band is from the 70s is Ambrosia. So Ambrosia will come on, and I might listen to that, but then I got to turn it off because I feel too old. But radio's nice for that. I mean, it's neat to turn on the radio and here comes Cyndi Lauper. Girls just want to have fun.
Yeah.
Or everybody wants to Wang Chung tonight. It's nice.
Love it.
Nice to spend a little time with that stuff. But yeah, I just like to. I kind of like to stay on current stuff. I don't want you to feel bad. Okay,
I don't feel bad.
This is not a judgment, but I have two boys.
Yep.
Who you know very well.
Very well.
And I did share this with you that when I was talking to Matthew the other day, he said, "So what's this podcast going to be about? Andy's crappy '80s music?" And I said, "No, it's not going to be about that." And so when I was getting ready to leave today to come and do this, Tristan essentially said the same thing. "Oh, I think it's just going to be all about all that crappy music Andy likes." And I'm like, "No, that's not. He's got an open mind. He's gonna check all this stuff out." I said he knows a lot about music, and he knows a lot about music. He'll be just fine. But no, I mean, I like metalcore. I don't want to sit here and talk about metalcore every time we do it. You
Right.
know, there's a, you know, we talked about this. There's billions and billions and billions of songs you and I haven't heard.
Oh yeah, easily.
And they're good songs.
Yeah, yeah. I discover new music every week.
Mm-hmm.
Every week I discover new music. I have to for my radio station, but I also branch off and check out some other stuff that isn't in that genre as well. So.
Right. And so we're gonna spend time just getting people caught up.
Yeah.
Okay, again, no disrespect. I worked with this wonderful lady in Marshalltown when I worked radio up there. Her name was Darla. And Darla has a jukebox.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
I would love a jukebox.
Right. Well, I believe it's 45 record jukebox.
Oh, sweet.
And so she likes to listen to music that would have been in a jukebox.
So the old stuff.
Well, the old stuff.
Yeah.
But she is of that time, like we are of that time, and so she'll comment on some of my posts on social media about, "Oh, is that more of that heavy stuff you like?" And so every now and then I actually send her a metalcore song that isn't banging, you know, there's just nice and poppy and stuff.
Yeah.
But I think that we can get Darla to tune into this podcast every week. And,
Yeah, probably.
And I believe that we can get her to listen to more current stuff. I don't want the Darlas of the world to, I don't expect them to get into metalcore, but there's a lot of good country music out there. There's a lot of good pop music. You don't have to keep listening to Cyndi Lauper.
You can try something different.
You can maybe try out Sabrina Carpenter in 2025. Don't know who she is? Hey, type that into your search engine.
Yeah, there you go.
Listen to a song or two.
Yeah.
If you like it, listen to more. If you don't,
The thing about like Spotify is they have like their number one played song, so you already know, well, this is their most popular one.
mm-hmm.
Try that out.
So this goes to Kendrick Lamar. Let's talk about that.
Okay.
Like and love. Oh, I like that. I love that. I hate that. Okay. So, what were a lot of the comments after the Super Bowl on Kendrick Lamar?
Well, it depended really on which side of the aisle you were sitting
Well,
on.
obviously the people that know him know him.
Yes.
But a lot of comments that I saw or heard was, "Well, I don't know who that is. I don't
Yep.
like him." Well, how do you know if you...
Didn't even listen to it.
If
Or if
you-
they did, they didn't understand it, because I heard I honestly did not watch it at that time, but the audio was not as good as could be. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
As far as his vocals, to be able to understand what he's saying.
Well, and he's also a rapper.
Yeah.
Rap is a lot like metalcore. The lyrics are the barrier.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that in a future episode. You
Yeah.
know, just about, you know, certain sounds being a barrier to people being more open-minded. But there were a lot of comments, I don't like him. And I would see people, "Have you listened?" No. They'd say, "No, I haven't listened to him." Well,
If you don't listen to him, how do you know you don't like him?
okay, yeah. So the halftime show was announced. They do that within just the first few weeks of the new football season.
Yeah.
And so there was all that time, you know. Now I knew who Kendrick Lamar was. He's not someone I listen to every day, but I'm aware of who he is.
Same. I would say
I'm
that's
aware of-
where I'm at.
Yeah, I'm aware that he's had multiple hits.
Yep.
I know where he comes from and whatever. But if you don't you can't say you hate something if you haven't checked it out, and it's okay to just type someone in, like people are like Taylor Swift, believe it or not. People will be like, well, I don't know who she is. Those are very rare because
living under a rock.
They are living under a rock because she's
been around for like 20 years.
Yeah, she is the biggest superstar in the world.
Easily.
She is the Michael Jackson of today.
Very much so.
But there are people that don't know who she is. And again, yes, they are living under a rock.
Yep.
But we implore you to type it into a search engine and just look it up.
Yeah.
She may not be your thing, but you can at least tune in to find out why she might be somebody else's thing.
Yes, that's a good way to put it.
And that goes with any artist.
Yeah.
That goes with any artist. And I just think that we're all missing out on great music.
Oh yeah, there's new music coming out every day that's just amazing. And I hear this all the time. Oh God, there's nothing new that's good these days. Nothing new is ever good. I'm like, oh, you're not listening then. You're just not listening.
You're not? Yeah, you're not, because we were talking about Chappell Roan. Now, Chappell Roan, I believe, got famous via social.
Yeah, social medias.
Yeah. I'm not sure if it was specifically TikTok. But this young lady writes her own music.
Yeah.
Writes her own music. She's an entertainer. She's got a strange look that is all hers. She writes songs that are impactful to her fans that are listening to it.
Catchy as hell, too.
Catchy as hell. But there are also country artists, new and current country artists, that are just as impactful. Now, hey, congratulations for listening to the king of country music, George Strait. Okay? He's the greatest thing ever. But there are some new people.
Yeah.
That sing that George Strait music that you can check out. You don't have to continue to... Well, I don't want to say you don't have to continue to listen to George Strait, because there's nothing wrong with that. No. But I'm just saying that there is music in 2024, 2025 that is just as good as what you listen to. Really, we regard that as gatekeeping.
Yeah.
Gatekeeping.
Very much so.
This is good because... It's only good because this is when I was alive, and it's only good.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah.
And please don't change your sound.
Right. Oh, God. If an artist changes their sound, look out.
Don't, they don't.
They can't experiment.
A good example of gatekeeping would be Garth Brooks. Obviously.
Yeah.
Global superstar. Long list of hits.
Yeah.
Well, he had this period in life where he became
a pop
Chris
artist.
Gaines.
Yes, Chris Gaines.
The fictional pop artist. People were irate.
Oh, God, they hated that.
What is this?
Yeah.
Why is he doing this? That's gatekeeping.
Yes.
It's
trying to keep them in the same lane.
Trying to keep everyone in the same lane when everything is constantly changing in life, and music is one of them.
Yeah, absolutely. Always changing.
Always changing. But yeah, there is good stuff out there. Again, so much to talk about. Maybe there's barriers to people checking things out.
Maybe. I don't know.
Well, this just popped into my head. I mean, let's be honest. That the superstars in pop music today do not dress like the superstars of pop music in the past.
Oh no, God no.
They're revealing a lot.
Yeah.
And I do think that may be a barrier for factions out there.
Could be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It could be.
We have a friend. Jason's wife, Lindsay Luck.
Okay.
Okay. She likes In This Moment.
Yeah.
But she won't go see In This Moment because she says, I don't want to see Maria Brink coming out in her underwear.
I don't remember her being in her underwear. Last time I saw her,
comes
she was
out-
in like this white robe.
Well, she comes out and she's wearing a full body nylon thing.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, whatever. But yeah, she doesn't like that about Maria Brink. I mean, I'm going to the show to listen to the music, you know.
Yeah, me too.
But I get that. And,
Yeah.
And that might be a somewhat of a barrier for checking out someone because they dress like a slut.
Sure.
Sure.
I get that as well.
Whatever that means. But
Right.
yeah, so you know, it's I just think we're gonna educate people
I hope so.
for the fun of it.
Yeah.
Because
I
again,
hope
there ain't no dollar value in knowing anything about that.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, we got about 9-ish minutes left for this to hit an hour. I know we did want to talk about what's hot today as far as the charts go. So I thought we'd do that. And I thought I'd kick it off because I've got the charts open right here with the rock chart. Should we do a top 5?
Sure.
All right, so top 5 in active rock today. Seether, Walls Come Down. Dig that song.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you know that song.
I do.
It's killer. Papa Roach, Even If It Kills Me. That song was just released like a couple weeks ago. It's already to number 4. Sleep Theory, Stuck in My Head. That one's on its way down. Number 2 is Falling in Reverse, Bad Guy, featuring Soraya. That's a great tune. And number 1, and this is really unbelievable, Shinedown hit their 24th number 1 hit
Yeah, it's amazing.
with Dance Kid Dance. 24 number 1 hits. I don't think there is another rock artist on this planet that will ever achieve what Shinedown has done.
No, and you know we know that it's Shinedown and Nickelback that go kind
Back and forth, yeah.
Back and forth. I don't know that Nickelback's last offering was.
I don't know if they're going to hit that number 1 spot too many times more.
I know-
Shinedown, though, I think
Yeah, Shinedown has been pretty consistent.
very.
You know, absolutely. You know, they've been consistent, and I mean, you know, now we've got 3 Days Grace is back. Mayday.
Yeah.
It's doing very well on the
I like
charts.
that tune, too.
Yeah. And that's with the 2 singers now.
Yeah,
I think that they're going to have an amazing run.
I really want to see that tour.
I really want to see that tour as well. You know, but yeah, you know, with Nickelback, I think, you know, their last couple of albums haven't really had anything that's
Nothing
really
to write home
resonated.
about. There's a
Yeah.
couple of songs that are like, okay, yeah, but it's kind of hit and miss with them lately. I hope that they can come out with, you know, their next Silver Side Up or something, you know,
Yeah.
that would be great. But I guess that'll remain to be seen. Let's jump over to top 40. Number 5, this is interesting here. Sabrina Carpenter is at number 5 with Taste. Number 4 is Sabrina Carpenter with Bad Chem. Number 3 is Gracie Abrams, That's So True. Lady Gaga and Bruno Mars at number 2 with Die With a Smile. And Rose and Bruno Mars at number 1 with APT.
Okay, well, it's Rosé.
Rose, oh,
Yeah,
see,
come on,
shows
man.
you what I know.
Get with the
I-
K-pop.
I have
Get with
not-
The K-pop.
I know I'm not. It's
Yeah.
been a while since I've been on KG95 to know anything about
Okay.
pop. So
Okay. Yeah, and then Lady Gaga, you know, she's a force to be reckoned with.
Oh.
Again, global superstar. She
when she sang "Dick in a Box" on the Saturday Night
That
Live
was funny.
50th, that was the
That was
greatest
funny.
moment
Yeah.
I think of the whole night.
Yeah, that
I
was
loved
funny.
it.
Well, she dropped a song called Abracadabra.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
last week or maybe the week before. Anyway, it's
recently.
Recently. It's flown up the charts. And that's another idea. A lot of music is released because it's danceable too.
Very much so. She's at number 18 right now with
number
that
18.
track.
Yeah. On Spotify, I know that she did amazing. And that Sabrina Carpenter just released another brand new single just on Friday. So
it's amazing.
Yeah.
So hot AC. We're familiar with this term.
AC.
Hot AC.
Hot AC.
This would be like the station I worked at in Decorah, DC 100.5, back in the day. They don't play the R&B-ish type stuff generally. At least that was the way it was back when I was on a hot AC station. But that could have changed by now. Hopefully it did. Number 5, Sabrina Carpenter, Espresso. She is all over all these charts, and they're different songs too. It's not like it's the same song on each chart. They're different songs. Shabuzi, a bar song. I actually, do you believe I know who Shabuzi is?
Okay, very good.
I do.
Very good.
I seen him on Saturday Night Live.
All right, you can stick around for the second episode.
I don't know what I think of it completely.
Oh, okay.
But I'm aware of who he is and what he does. And I'm aware of there are people that really dig that. Mm-hmm. And so more power to them. Mm-hmm. More power to them. If you like it, awesome.
Yeah, I'll get you a shirt.
All right. Number 3 is Billie Eilish, Birds of a Feather. She's been pretty popular here for, 10 years now?
Oh.
Maybe? I don't know. It's been a few years.
Everything she puts out
seems to get bigger and bigger, yeah.
Yeah.
Number 2 is Lady Gaga and Bruno Mars, Die With a Smile. And number 1, Miles Smith, Stargazing. Now, I have no idea who that song... I don't know that song.
We'll type that into our search engine because I probably know the song. I just don't know who the artist is.
Yeah.
I'll have to look it up too.
All right, so we're going to jump over to Urban now.
Yeah, no, you should know all of these.
Oh, obviously. Yes. I'm not even sure how to pronounce this first name. Big X the Plug. Is that it? Big X the Plug? Am I right in that?
Well, I don't know.
Big Ten the Plug? It's Big X, THA Plug.
Well, whatever. At least you're entertaining right now.
I try. The song is The Largest. I do not know any of these songs.
Okay.
I'm gonna put that out there.
Okay.
So I need to do some looking on these. Chris Brown, I do know who he is.
Oh yeah, he's a wonderful human being.
Yes. Number 4 with Residuals. The reason I know him is not good. Kendrick Lamar and SCA.
Oh, it's SZA, brother.
SZA?
It's SZA, brother.
I don't know.
Oh.
See? I'm learning. I am learning.
Rose and SZA, what did you say?
Yeah, see, I'm like Harry Carey trying to pronounce, or what was it? No, I'm like, what was his name on WKRP? The news guy. Chai Rodriguez.
Okay. Yeah,
you remember
that. I do. Yeah, I do remember that.
Anyway, so I'm going to screw these up. Just letting you know. Not on purpose, just because I don't know. Glorilla? Is it Glorilla and Sexy Red?
Gorilla.
No, it's It's Glorilla.
Glorilla.
Glorilla and Sexy Red. What you know about me?
Okay.
I think Sexy Red is a wrestler. Not 100 on that, but I do believe she is.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if she's in AEW or WWE, but I do believe she's one of those factions. And number 1 is Summer Walker, Heart of a Woman.
Okay, I'm a big Summer Walker fan. So
I do not know who that is.
She's very good.
Oh, I will have to check that out. That I think it. Oh no, I gotta hit the country charts.
Yeah,
don't
you
I?
better hit.
Can't
the country.
forget about that. All right, coming in at number 5 on the country charts, Cody Johnson.
Good stuff.
Any relation to Rhonda Johnson?
No.
No? Oh,
No.
okay. I thought I'd check.
No.
I'm gonna love you with Underwood. Carrie Underwood?
Yep.
Okay, just
I
making
think.
sure. It would be weird to be called I'm gonna love you with Underwood.
Oh, yeah.
Underwood.
Too much.
Sorry, my Beavis and Butthead just
Yeah.
broke out a little bit in there. Number 4, Morgan Wallen.
Now, do you know who Morgan is?
I do not.
You've heard the name.
I've heard the name. I don't think I've heard anything
Okay, well.
from them.
Worth checking out.
Love Somebody is the name of the song that's at number 4 right now. Number 3 is Jordan Davis. I Ain't Saying. I think Sally is enjoying the Jordan Davis.
Yeah.
This one I actually am very familiar with, and it's surprising because, well, not surprising, but he's also on the rock charts. Hi, Sally. Are you getting into this? I think she is. I think she probably wants to go potty. Number 2 is Jelly Roll Liar, which I really dig that track. I know that track, and I dig that track. And it's also on rock radio as well, right?
Oh, Jelly Roll's good.
Yeah, Jelly Roll's pretty good. You know why I like him? He doesn't have that twang. He doesn't have it.
Well, we're going to talk about your bias against twang
I know.
on this podcast,
We will.
too, sir.
I know. And number 1, Post Malone, another guy that doesn't have twang, which I appreciate. Guy for That, featuring Luke Combs. I don't know that one.
You don't know that one?
No.
It's a jam. Check it out.
All right. I will check those 5 out and see what I think of them.
Mm-hmm.
I know I like the Jelly Roll.
Yeah, Jelly Roll.
So, hey, at least 1 out of 5. For me, that's pretty good on country charts.
Well,
For me,
I'm very impressed.
you know, because I'm not a. I'll be honest, I'm not a fan. I've never been a fan of country.
Oh.
There's very, very few country songs that I dig. But I do understand that many, many, many people love country music.
Yeah,
And
but
I can see their talent. It just doesn't hit me like it hits others. That's
we're going to work on that. We're going to work on that.
We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, well, I'm not really here to convert you into anything.
Oh, I know.
I know you have an open mind. So.
I do, and
Yeah.
I'm willing to check the stuff out.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think that's all of the charts, and Sally really needs to pee. So,
Yeah. Well,
what do you say we wrap this first edition up?
We'll come back with the Music Matters podcast next week. I don't know what we're going to talk about,
I don't either.
but we'll talk about something interesting.
Yeah. So there we go. I've been Andy, and you've been
Ziggy.
and this is Music Matters.